We're 2 months out from arguably the best time of the year for a match bettor, spring. Now, most people don't realise, but spring is a goldmine that you should be preparing for now in the winter months. So in this podcast, we're going to show you exactly what you should be doing in the winter months to prepare yourself for the Spring Carnival. Today, I'm joined with Tom and Steve. My name is JP, and over the last 5 years, we've built a community now of over 2,000 members, and together they've made over $50 million combined from match betting. Welcome, guys. I'm going to ask Tom a question first. Why is it so important to prepare yourself for the Spring Carnival if you are a match bettor?
Well, the Spring Carnival provides a super lucrative opportunity for people who know what they're doing, just simply because of the time of year that the Spring Carnival is. So the easiest way to kind of think about it is Spring Carnival has, a lot of hype attached to it. And with that hype, it creates an environment where people that usually don't even gamble, or people that do gamble more. And that's an opportunity for bookmakers to cash in. And so the way in which they look to cash in is they try and get as many people as possible gambling, and gambling as often and as much as they possibly can. The more people that do that, the more money that's gambled, the more money the bookmakers make. Pretty simple, right? So the way in which they've done this, and it changes, well, it's been moving more and more towards this over the last few years, is like they just encourage people to gamble by giving them bonuses, by giving them promotions, by giving them boosted odds, by just texting them, making them aware of certain things, whatever it may be. They're doing everything in their power to put gambling front and center and to make it as appealing as possible to the average person. So for match bettors, this means more promos, more opportunities to make money. There's more racing, there's more money in Betfair, and all of these things, like, it allows you, one, to blend in more, but two, to take more expected value, to make more money, just simply because there are more opportunities more often across more bookmakers. What we also see is this time of year, because it is so lucrative and there's so much hype, you see bookmakers enter the space that currently don't exist, or maybe they're brand new and they enter the space, and in order to try and grab some attention or to grab some market share, they offer ridiculous promos for a weekend or 2 weekends, or they offer a ridiculous incentive to join them. We've seen it, we saw it with Betfair back in the day. We saw it with a few smaller bookies last year offering outrageous promos for like the whole Spring Carnival, bonus back to fourth across all of the tracks. So all of these opportunities present themselves to you. You just have to know how to take them, and you obviously have to be prepared to be able to take them. So the easy way to think about it is there's more promos, there's more money in the market, there's more people gambling. The bookies want more people to be gambling, so they're trying to encourage it. And if you're ready and prepared to take advantage of it, you can absolutely cash in, and that's what we're going to try and make sure people are ready to do today.
Now, with the promotions that are happening right now in the winter months, they're a little bit different with regards to where the bookies are putting their resources, where they're putting their marketing focus. So, Steve, you're heavily involved with our sports system. We now have over 320 of those 2,000 Platinum members following that. What have you seen over the past few months with regards to sports promos? And in particular, comparing that to the start of the season. We did a sports promos podcast about 4-ish months ago. And how have the promos changed since then? What are the bookies focusing on now?
For sure. So, if we look back to the start of the season when we did this podcast, it was heavily AFL, NRL. Obviously, the season kicks off, I think it kicks off in mid-Feb now, or mid-March. Might have got that wrong, but they have opening round. The season's getting longer, starting earlier. And so the bookies' focus at the start of the year was we need to get all the punters addicted to betting on the NRL and the AFL. So the easiest way that they can do that is by offering free hit promotions, because free hit promotions is just music to a punter's ear because they get so excited. Oh, free hits, got my free hits on. So the bookies focus their attention, their marketing, their advertising, their general strategy to increase their market share for themselves by attracting the punters with free hits. Sportsbet started doing this probably about 2 years ago now. Tab followed suit. Bet365 stopped offering promotions for about 2 years, and then all of a sudden came back into the market with free hits. That is the lure and the power of free hits, obviously, that they've found. BoomBet started doing it. PickleBet started doing it. I've probably missed a couple. Betr started doing it. Ladbrokes at the start of the season did it as well. Almost every single major bookmaker, PointsBet, were doing it. We're offering free hits at the start of the season for same-game multis because that's what the punters bet on with AFL and NRL. As the season has progressed, naturally, you'd have to think the bookies' marketing budget or advertising budget slowly decreases. They're going to pump it at the start of the year when they're trying to attract it. And so because, I'm somewhat guessing here, but as the season has progressed, we've definitely seen less of those promotions play out, particularly through sort of, round 10, 11, 12 of the AFL, NRL season. AFL, if you look at AFL, they have the bye rounds where there's only sort of 5 or 6 games around through that period of the season. So it's a bit of a dead part of the season. Like the season's starting to take shape. The top 8's almost solidified. The top 10's almost solidified. So I would say that, the general interest in the league at that part of the season is the quietest. So the bookies naturally taper off and offer less promotions. And so now as we're starting to roll in towards finals, we might see that the bookies will start picking up the promotions again, but who knows? They change it every year. Generally, that's what happens over the last couple of seasons, but definitely at the moment, the free hit promotions and the general sport promotions have decreased off a little bit, which means that general turnover, we're outlaying less units, not considerably less, but definitely less units than what we were in the sports system specifically. And the general match bettor would be turning over less money on sport promotions at the moment. However, that is why we're here for this podcast, because now is the time to go, okay, well, there isn't a great opportunity. There's no great racing on at the moment, as we've discussed. The sport promotions are slowly tapering off as well. They might start to ramp up over the next couple of weeks or maybe the next couple of months, but definitely right now it is the quietest time. And so therefore it's the best time to go, all right, I'm going to put the queue in the rack for a little bit and, really go, all right, time to build that launch pad for what's coming with spring.
Yeah, and the bookies, I think, are cashing in on the momentum that's been built. They create that early on in the season. They create addiction, if you will, by the habit that's generated from more of these guaranteed bonus back promotions, free hits. And then they just allow that to sort of maintain through the season. And then they may pick it up again with finals, as you said. So that's sport. Does this mean now, I'll go back to you again, Steve, does this mean now, and you've been working with Dennis closely with the sports system, does that mean you can't make any money from sport right now if the promos are slightly less?
No, absolutely not. There's still plenty of opportunity. Don't get me wrong. Don't take what I said for me saying that there's no opportunity. There is still so many sport promotions and still so many opportunities. But I would just say it's a little bit harder. You have to look a little bit more. You're probably putting your accounts under a little bit more risk. Once again, we're probably only insinuating. I wouldn't have any clear data to back that up. But it's definitely a quieter time of the year. There's less turnover. So naturally, logically, you're going to stand out more because there's less people betting on a market. So if you're regularly betting on these markets, you're going to stand out a little bit more. But there is still plenty of opportunity. But it is just not as lucrative as what it was in the first 4 rounds of the season. A clear example of this is Sportsbet, I think for the first 2, 3, maybe even first 4 rounds of the season, offered a free hit on every single AFL game and NRL game for the first maybe 1 or 2 rounds as well. Now at the moment, we're seeing it fluctuate a little bit. I think we've had some weeks where Sportsbet would offer a free hit on both Thursday, Friday, AFL and NRL. Sometimes they'll just do Thursday for the AFL, Friday for the NRL, or Friday for the AFL, Thursday for the NRL. But reality is we can see that they were offering 10, 12, 16 games of free hits at the start of the season. Now they're sort of only offering 2 or 3 really. So that's sort of the major difference we're seeing, but those opportunities that are still there are still extremely profitable. Each individual opportunity is just as profitable as what they were at the start of the season. Don't get me wrong, there is just less promotions to capitalize on. And because there's less promotions, it means that, if you're going to take more of the promotions that are on offer, you're taking a larger percentage of the promotions on offer, which means you're then going to put your accounts at a higher risk because, as we talk about in defense and sustainability, if there's 100% of promotions on offer and you take 100% of them, then you're obviously going to be at a higher chance of getting your accounts banned than someone who's only taking 10% of the promotions on offer.
Yep. No, for sure. Good. What about with horse racing? You manage, Tom, the horse system that we run, 650 members now, all-time high in there. What has been happening through the winter months and why is it so different to spring with regards to, 1, the racing and then 2, the promos?
Yeah, well, basically what Steve said before, what happens with sport also happens with racing. So there's pretty much a calendar. And if you're prepared and you know what you're doing, you can work out the best times of the year to be doing certain things. Like Steve said, start of the AFL NRL season, you want to make sure that you are aware and prioritising your sport turnover because the opportunities are everywhere. Same thing, Spring Carnival rolls around. You want to make sure you're prepared and prioritizing getting your racing turnover increasing because the opportunities are everywhere. So as a match bettor that's been doing this for a few years, you would probably already be in that rhythm. So people that are new or just started or are just kind of coming to terms with what match betting is, again, this is why we're doing this podcast, so that you're prepared. But racing has its seasons like the AFL and NRL does, and we've just wrapped up kind of the Queensland Carnival. So it kind of moves through the states. Racing moves through the states. The big racing moves through all the states. They all get their share of the pie. They all get a bit of spotlight, and that's the way that it kind of works. So all of the big racing is now finished up, and it won't start up again for probably 6 to 8 weeks. We'll see towards the back end of August and the start of September, the nicer horses start to come back, the better races, the more prize money. It all rolls back out. So same thing, like that's when the hype comes back. That's when all the promos start to launch. It doesn't mean you can't make money, like Steve said. That if you know what you're doing in match betting, you can make money every single month of the year. It doesn't matter what you're doing. The same strategies, the same methods, the same I guess core skills that you have as a match bettor can be used 24/7, 365, assuming that there are promotions that exist, and there still are during these periods. But the racing now for the next 6 weeks is going to be a little bit less prestigious, if you will. The nicer horses aren't running around. Some of the better jockeys might go and get some sun in Europe or whatever it may be. They take a little bit of a break, and then everyone comes back. They're ready to go. They're ready to launch kind of middle of August. So you got probably 6 weeks now where there will still be racing promos, but you'll notice that some of these smaller bookies that were popping up on these big carnival days to cash in on the hype, they might disappear. Bookies like Sportsbet, for example, they do all of these races on, they do 4 races at Moonee Valley Friday night. They do 7 races at Sydney and Melbourne on a Saturday. Plus they might do if you run second, win. They do those promos in the big periods. Now you've noticed that they've pulled it back. There's nothing on Friday night. Steve said they pulled back the sport promos. They've also pulled back the racing promos a bit. They're only doing the first 4 races, Sydney and Melbourne. So these are the things that you just notice. It's completely normal. Again, there's still opportunities to make money, but if you're aware of it, there are other things that you can be doing with your time and your energy right now as a match bettor that will allow you to cash in later down the line. So if you look at match betting as like a 12-month spectrum, which we preach, you're not here to make money for a week. There are times during the season, during the year, whatever you want to call it, where your priorities should shift so that you can cash in at other times of the year. And then if you look at your whole work output for a 12-month period, it will be a cash in. So instead of trying to maintain this level for the whole 12 months, it's like you prioritize money-making here to really cash in on the opportunities. Then in these lower periods, like, okay, cool, how do I set myself up to be able to maximize what's about to come? And then if you look at it over a 12-month period, instead of trying to do the same thing for 12 months, you cash in on this period of the year, you do your setting up, your admin, your priority, and then at the end of the 12-month, your output is significantly more.
It's really cool when you talk about it like that and explain it like that, because right now, what you're describing right there is a full-on strategic plan like a business would run. And when people first ever hear about match betting and what we do, they just think we're punting. But what sort of punter right there looks at a 12-month calendar and goes, this is my best time to make money off the bookies. This is my second best time. This is my best time to plan and set myself up. Obviously, no punters do that. This is the difference between, obviously there are so many differences between gambling and match betting, but right here is a real clear difference of this is a business that you are running. As a match bettor, you are actually the CEO of your own business, and your business is your match betting career, or whatever you want to call it, name it what you want. But look at the 12 months, start of the year, great money-making opportunity, Spring Carnival, the best money-making opportunity, and that's where we're launching into now. And like any business would run, you don't try and make money for the whole 12 months. Obviously, you are trying to make money the whole 12 months, but not every direct activity or every direct initiative that any business takes on is directly making money for every single day of 12 months. They might do a hiring phase, they might do a recruitment phase, they might do a training phase, but all of this is to launch into their one key time of the year. For instance, if you're an accounting firm, it might be the end of the financial year. You know that May and June are going to be heavy workloads because everyone's getting their tax done. So for maybe December, January, February, you're just going, all right, what do we need to get in place so that when May and June comes around, we're ready to launch? This is no different for us here. What do we need to do right now? Right now is our May and June, although it's July and August for an accounting firm, the equivalent. What do we need to do right now so that when our main money-making opportunity comes around, we're ready to go?
Yeah, if you look at it like that, and you look at how a punter thinks, assuming that a punter is not betting with an edge, assuming they're not using unit sizes, one is playing a game to win and getting the odds in their favor, and one is just fucking throwing shit at the wall and hoping it wins. And when you look at it like Tom said, it's actually that simple. The only thing I would say to that is Tom's made it sound, in theory, really, really simple, but if you don't actually know how to do the things within those areas, you're not going to be able to take advantage. So this is an opportunity for you to look at the areas that you are deficient in, or you don't understand, or you have skill issues in, and then look to improve your knowledge, your skill, and your experience in those areas. So you might be listening to this and you've made $300 from match betting and you don't have a clue how to use a horse promo, don't have a clue how to use a sports promo. If you don't know how to do those things, you are capping yourself with this whole thing. So we'll move into now what you should be focusing on. And I'm just going to start out by saying that the number one thing that I would recommend you could do now in the winter months is open up more bookies. Now, why that's the case, and we preach this every single webinar we have weekly in the Platinum community, is that the more bookies you have open now, the more opportunities you're going to have later. Because it's not a matter of getting to spring and then being like, I'm going to start opening up all these bookies in September 1. Because if you haven't primed them, if you haven't set them up, if you haven't opened them, you're not on their list. You're not in their system. So they're not going to prioritize you as much as if you were an existing member. So if you're setting them up now, you're opening them up 5, 10 a week, and obviously within your bankroll, but you can then start getting on their list. And then when it comes to spring, you're going to get texts, you're going to get emails, because they're going to start competing with each other, like Tom explained at the start. And then it's just like you open up your emails on a Saturday and you have 10 deposit offers from the 80 bookies that you've opened. If you're not even aware that there's that many bookies, there is. There's over 114 or 15 now on our Platinum bookie list. And if you aren't using more than, say, 5, 10, 15, you are capping yourself and literally not taking the opportunities that you can take when they do come around. So number one would be doing that. And then on top of that is actually priming those accounts properly. What does that actually mean? Well, you can't just open up an account, hammer the deposit offer, and then do nothing. You can't hammer the promos and then do nothing. That's what people do in this space and then think that match betting just gets you promo banned and it's not possible to keep making money. If you actually learn how to set up an account properly, if you learn how to prime it, if you know what each bookie likes and doesn't like, and obviously I keep plugging the Platinum bookie list, but it's a fucking massive Bible, really. It has 20 columns of what you should do, what you shouldn't do, how you can set that account up, what you should focus on, what months of the year that they're actually giving promos. And if you add all of these things into your overall setup and you stack it like Tom said and you prioritize it through spring with racing, and then you do the autumn months like March with your sport, and then you have the lull period now where you're doing your admin and your prep, it becomes so fucking easy to run a business, because it's literally, you're just planning to succeed later if you set it up properly. So that would be my first one. So opening up more bookies, priming them properly, using an actual proper structured list so you're not just fucking guessing. And then I'm going to ask you what you would say as one of your big takeaways for what you should be doing right now in the winter months on top of opening up more bookies. Steve?
Sure. Before I do answer one key takeaway, I want to add one thing as well to what you've just said there. I think this is more focused towards our Platinum members as well. I reckon people get a little bit discouraged from opening up more bookies, because what they do is they go and we tell them, open up more bookies, and then they go and open up 10 and they don't get a deposit offer straight away. And they go, what the fuck was the point of that? What a waste of time. Like, it is a pain in the ass to have to set up, put in your details, verify, put your card details in. It is a bit of a monotonous task, but it's admin. We do it to make money. Reality is just cop it on the chin. But it's annoying when you don't get that instant feedback of, yes, here's a deposit offer. I'm now getting instant reward for my efforts. And I think people get discouraged. What happens, as JP has said there, is you open up that 10 and you might get rewarded 2 or 3 months down the line, and you will get rewarded. It might not be from every single one, but it is simply a game of numbers. You open up 100 bookmakers, and if 10% of them give you a deposit offer in 2 months' time at $100 a pop, that's $1,000 in deposit offers that you might get in 2 months' time, and that's $750 profit right there. And then another 2 months later, another 10% of them might give you another deposit offer as well. There's another $1,000, and this cycle just keeps repeating itself. The larger number you have to begin with, the larger that 10% is. 10% of 100 is 10 bookies will give you a deposit offer. Obviously, I'm making up these numbers, but if you only have 20 bookies open and you get 10%, you're only going to get 2 deposit offers. So I think that's where people really need to understand that you're not necessarily going to get the deposit offer straight away, but that's where the value of the bookie list is. super valuable because it will tell you the best way to set up those accounts so that in 2 or 3 months' time, you are the highest chance of getting a deposit offer. So just wanted to add that one there because I do think people get discouraged, but think long term. Back to your question you had for me. So I think the number one thing that I recommend for anyone, regardless as whether you're a new person to match betting, maybe you're a punter, you want to start working out how you can get better, obviously with the skills of match betting, but trying to take that leap. Maybe you're a platinum member wondering why you're not making more profit. Track everything. And this goes across any aspect of life. I'm confident of it as well, but track absolutely everything. You don't realize what you don't know about yourself until you actually have this like historical timeline of, on this day, I turned over this much. On this day, I turned over this much. On this day, I opened up 4 bookies. On this day, I lost $20 on mug gambling that I just would normally have forgotten about. But because I've tracked it now 2 months down the line, I remember it. The more you track, the more data you have about yourself, the more you can analyze your behaviors and the more you can identify what you're doing or what you're not doing. I can't emphasize how important it is. I reckon one of the main things that you see with gamblers is you say, hey, do you bet? And they go, yeah, of course I bet. And then it's like, what's your profit and loss? And they have no fucking idea. And they all think that it is, $100, $200, $500. Any single person that says to me, oh, yeah, I've probably lost $500 over the last year, I multiply it by 10 in my head. Because just a general rule of thumb, I reckon that's a more accurate representation. The reality is, if you don't have that data, there's no way you're ever going to know that you need to make a change. Because if you believe yourself, I'm only losing $500, or if you believe yourself, I am turning over $1,000 of promo bets, then you're not going to change because you think yourself, I am doing the right thing. But if you had all this data and you go, oh fuck, I'm only turning over $100 of bonus bets, or I've only opened up 4 bookies in the last month, then you have categorical evidence, data that suggests you need to change your behavior, and it's a lot easier to then change your behavior once you already realize what you're doing. So tracking for me, getting data, making decisions off real proven evidence is the easiest way to change and improve whatever you're trying to improve in match betting and life.
So if you're listening to this, you're enjoying it, you're wondering how to get started, the best place for you to start is our free course. On the screen right now, there is a link to that free course, and if it's not popping up on your screen, just go into the description and get it started. It'll take you an hour to finish the free course, and by the end of that hour, you'll know exactly how to make your first dollars from match betting. We'll get back to the pod. That's good advice. What about you, Tom? You might have a little bit of a different one that you want to talk about here with regards to setting up for a spring carnival through the winter months. What's your take?
I would say as well, obviously you've spoken about opening up more bookies, and then Steve spoke about the likelihood of getting redeposit offers or deposit offers. The other thing to remember is anyone in match betting, whether you're brand new or whether you've been doing it for 5 years, the most money that you're going to make from match betting is ongoing promotions. So like Steve said, the example of numbers, if you have 100 bookmakers open, that might mean that on a Saturday in the Spring Racing Carnival, you have access to 1,000 promotions for that Saturday. If you have 20 bookies open, you might only have access to 200. So if you're looking to grow out your operation or even sustainability purposes, if you have 100 bookies open and these bookies start popping up, giving you every race on a Saturday, you could not use your big valuable bookies. You could not use your Sportsbet. You could not use your Tab. You could not use your Ladbrokes because you have all these other bookmakers offering the identical promotion where you can then spread the load. Now, we always talk about defense and sustainability, and often it gets, what is that? It's fluff. But these things, you could, let's say you're going to do 50 promo bets on a Saturday. If you only have 20 bookmakers, you have to do at least 2.5 promo bets per bookie. You have 100, you can have bookies that don't have bets on them. And that's how you can sustain your operation for an extended period of time. We're talking about looking at it at 12 months. That's just a key. It's so simple to be able to do that. Or if you're looking to grow your operation, ramp it up, you want to do 100 promo bets on a Saturday. Well, if you have 100 bookies and you have thousands of promotions available to you, it's way easier to do 100 within a sustainable fashion, as opposed to if you have 20 bookies, you go and use 100 promos and you're absolutely hammering 20 bookies, you're going to lose them. And like you said, if you haven't set them up and then you start losing some bookies in spring and you haven't prepped, God forbid, you're spending Saturday mornings or whatever it is, opening up accounts and not making money or not prioritizing what's happening. So that's opening bookies has to be the number one. I don't think there's anything that compares. But the next part of match betting is you have to understand the value of your money. And often with investments, there aren't many investments that present the same opportunity that match betting does. So when you think about prepping for spring, It's all good and well to have bookies. It's all good and well to track what you're doing. It's all good and well to have all these things and do them. But the key to the whole game is you need capital to turn over on promos to make money. And if you have more money and you have more capital, you can make more money. It's as simple as that. So there are so many things you can do in the next 6 weeks, opening accounts, tracking what you're doing, getting more efficient. You can also work an extra couple of shifts. Those $100, $200, $300 that you can keep putting in your pocket to allocate to this investment, it will come back 5-fold, 10-fold, 20-fold as you keep growing it. Plus, we all know the way that match betting works is once you start turning over more money and understanding the methods and making more money, you have an ability to use more promos to increase your unit size. Your bankroll gets bigger. The flexibility, you're not too stressed about where your money is and what bookies, and you can just keep going at it and growing out your operation. For so many people, it's like, oh yeah, cool, I've got $2,000 in match betting, that's it. But over the next 6 weeks, if you can work more or drink less beers or buy less Uber Eats or whatever it may be, those dollars that you're saving, not only will you save them, you can invest them into your operation and it will grow and grow and grow and it snowballs. So my biggest thing would be, on top of the bookies and tracking and getting more efficient at what you're doing, is just get yourself more capital. Literally get yourself more capital so that you can launch it, you can be more flexible, and you can turn over more money on promos, because that's how you make money. You increase your turnover.
Do you think people understand that you can make lots of money, so therefore if they did have more money, I'll rephrase. Do you think people actually understand that having more money with match betting makes you more money? Or do you need to be at a level of certain skill to understand that? Because I want to shout out Hamish, one of our members. He was on our pod last week. He's now ticked over 100K profit by the time this gets posted. He's 19, right? That's a ridiculous number. But on the podcast where we filmed when he was on $22,000, he started off with $3,000 or $4,000 as an 18-year-old. And within 12 months, he's made 100, because he says in the pod, it is the best investment that I know of, and it's the best investment on the planet. I put every single cent that I get from my Woolies. He now doesn't work, but he went back then, he was making $300 a week, and he just puts it into match betting because he had that light bulb moment to actually know that more money equals more money. Do you think people understand this from the outside? Like platinum members should, but do you think people actually know that having more money in your operation, like you said, actually makes them more money? And maybe specifically say how it makes them more money.
I don't think they know that, but I don't know if it's just a match betting thing. I would say it's like a general finances / life thing. Like I had 2 free calls yesterday where both of the guys had available capital but didn't want to join yet. One guy didn't want to join until the end of the month because he wanted to get his interest from his savings account, which is common as. I see that all the time. And then the other guy had like $8,000 in stocks and didn't want to take any of those out to start his match betting. And I had a great conversation with both of them, and probably so many people listening would be in the same boat. You need to weigh up like what is that money actually doing for you? So if you have your money in your savings account, let's say you have 10 grand in a savings account and it's earning 4% interest for the year. That 10 grand locked away that you can't touch, that you're not using, is going to make you $400 in 12 months. So $400 in 12 months is pretty much fuck all, right? If that's in stocks, let's say it's going market percentage, going 9%, that's going to make you $900 in 12 months. If you've even just finished the free course, you would know that even a small portion of that capital, if you got sign-up offers and you turned over the bonuses 60%, you can turn $1,000 of capital into the $400 that 10K will make you in 12 months. You could make $400 in a weekend from turning over sign-up bonuses. So if you miss out on 1 month of interest, but you make your whole year's interest in one weekend from match betting, that's where you have to start to understand what is your money actually doing. And if your 10K is locked away and you're never going to use it and it's only making you $400 a year, you're never going to actually get ahead. But if you can turn that 10K and use it in an investment or to get skills or whatever it may be, match betting, anything, and you can turn it into, then you can use that money to make 100K a year or to make 20K a year, that 10K is going to like send you to the moon. Or you pull your 10K out, I'm going to lose $400 of interest. I make $4,000 from match betting in 6 months. I put my 10K back. I've still got a 4K match betting bankroll. And that use of your capital has just like launched you forward. You're in the same spot in terms of savings, but you have an extra 4K that you can use to make money. These just little tweaks. I think if people started to understand that theory more, they just move forward faster. So in terms of match betting, I'm sure that like on a surface level, people would go, yeah, well, if I had more money, I'd probably be able to make more money. But whether they can logically see the steps or why that's possible, I'm not sure. But the easiest way to think about it is, what is my money doing for me right now? And if it's making 4% or it's making 9%, you have to understand that $100, that $1,000, that $10,000, whatever it may be, whether it's match betting or other ways in which you're growing your capacity to make money, that's going to have a way bigger ROI than your savings or than the whatever you call it, the capital growth that you're getting in your stock. So, yeah, I've rambled on a bit here, but essentially there's no way, if you sit down and logically think dollar per dollar, will I make more as in my savings account? Will I make more in the stock market? Will I make more from match betting? If you look at it logically, people that understand match betting are probably going to go, yeah, fuck, I didn't realize that I can make, 5 years returns on interest, like with $100 from just a $100 bonus bet. Shit, never thought of that. Okay, yeah, it makes more sense. If I have more money, I can do this. But it's the whole 12-month thinking. And if you start to look at it like that, if you can access more accounts, you can get more sign-up offers. If you have more capital, you can use more redeposit offers. That alone is instant growth in money. If you have more bankroll, you can grow your unit size, which means you can use more promos, which means you can take more expected value, which means in the long term, if you're consistently doing that, you will make more money. The guys that make $10K a month don't actually do almost anything differently to the guys that make $1,000, but they have more bankroll, they have more accounts open, they can turn over more money on promos, and therefore one guy's doing $10 units, the other guy's doing $100 units. They're betting on the same thing at the same time, turning their bonuses over the same way. This guy's making X and this guy's making 10X from doing the exact same thing. And a lot of the time that's due to less accounts. This guy's got less accounts. This guy's got less capital. This guy spends less time honing his craft. This guy doesn't track it as well, doesn't know what he can improve. And that's literally the difference. So, yeah, I don't know if people understand that, but so many people have access to capital that they're not using to launch themselves forward. And if they did, fuck, they'd be in a different spot in 12 months.
Yeah, well, I'll just reflect on an opportunity that came up to us in 2018. And I've told this story a few times, but I can't remember why I did this. I must have had money locked up somewhere, but I think it was 9,000 in Rio Tinto stocks, which is a high dividend stock. I think they return like 8-7% year on year. So I don't know how much, $300-$400 dividend every year that I was getting from that. And there was an opportunity that came up with you, and I needed the money to do the operation. And then I sold the stocks, didn't give a fuck about whether they're up, down, the dividend, because I knew that we were going to print money literally through this spring opportunity that came up. Ended up making 80K combined in 10 weeks. Wouldn't have been possible if I didn't sell those stocks. So it's like, okay, cool, lost $400 on the stock. Might have gone up a bit as well, that I lost growth on that too. But then split the profits 40K each. Like, I think it's worth it. So that was just like, once you understand the game, you start thinking like that, you make those decisions. It's like, well, fuck, it's a no-brainer. But you explain it pretty well. Is there anything with regards to obstacles that are going to hold people back right now making money due to the lack of promos, comparing like autumn and spring, with regards to like Betfair? Do you want to share the importance of knowing how to use Betfair firstly and then eventually getting it to the point of being second nature? Because you've done a couple of those videos online where you look like a whiz, you're like flying through it, and most people look at that and be like, fuck, how is he doing it so quick? How important is that as a match bettor all year round, but specifically through spring as well? If you're not prepared and you're not ready to use Betfair, how will that handicap you?
Nah, you're done. You need Betfair. Straight up, you need Betfair. Right? Let's think of it this way, right? So, AFL, NBA season has just finished off. Let's start with the NBA season. NBA season has just finished off, and that has meant that the opportunity to provide two-way Dutches. Now, if you don't know what a two-way Dutch is, it's either turning over a bonus bet or just a non-promo bet and hedging it on both sides of a market. So you back Boston Celtics and you back Denver Nuggets. You might do it with a bonus bet if you're turning over a bonus bet. You might just do it for non-promo bets. Take a small loss for some defense and sustainability. NBA presents a huge opportunity to do that because there's probably 5-6 games a day from October, November to... when did it finish up? Probably really April it finishes up. Obviously, playoffs still go for another 2 months, but there's far less games during playoffs. So during the core NBA season, huge opportunity for non-promo bets. So you don't need Betfair to do that. So as a rookie match bettor, it's very easy to do rookie match betting things through the NBA season. It's very easy on the weekends of AFL and NRL season because you've got 9 AFL games. I think there's 9 NRL games, maybe 8. So there's really good opportunity there. Also, through the summer months, you've got NFL season, so there's some good opportunity there. There's some high liquidity markets. When I say high liquidity, I mean there's a lot of people betting on those markets, so they present a good opportunity to place these non-promo bets and place these bonus turnovers without the use of Betfair because it's all head-to-head. However, as we get to spring, AFL season finishes up, NRL season finishes up, NBA season hasn't started yet, NFL season hasn't started yet. There's a real lull. There's a little bit of soccer, there's a little bit of EPL maybe. I don't really follow those calendars. But there's a real period where it's like, unless you're using Betfair and you know how to place non-promo bets and turn over your bonus bets on Betfair, you're done, because you need to be able to use Betfair. Now, Betfair, in my opinion, takes, if you're a quick learner, it still takes at least 3 to 4 months to master. You can really grasp it pretty well within your first month, turn over 50 bonus bets, place 100 non-promo bets on horses, and you'll get a really good understanding. But there are a lot of nuances. Being able to actually become a master of it and understand how to sort of see the changes in markets and see the numbers fluctuate and understand liability and understand take BSB and all of these things that if you don't know what I'm talking about right now, then obviously you're not an expert in Betfair, but that's fine. But it takes sort of 3 or 4 months to become a master, but it is absolutely critical. Obviously, those videos you've referred to where I'm sort of just using Betfair, you need to just be able to see Betfair and just know exactly what to take. You don't want to be in a position where you are looking at Betfair, going back to the calculator, working out how much I need to place to turn over this bonus bet, or maybe how much I need to place this non-promo bet. You need to get to the point with Betfair. When I say you need, this is providing you want to be someone who makes 3, 4, 5K a month from match betting. You need to just be able to look at Betfair, have done so many reps where it's like, okay, great, bang, that's an opportunity. Bang, that's an opportunity. Because the market moves so quickly on Betfair where if you're not quick and you're not able to just make a snap decision in 0.1 of a second without having to go to a spreadsheet or go to a calculator or think, is this right, is this wrong, you're going to miss the opportunity. So Betfair is absolutely critical. The time of the year is making it even more critical as the sport wears off and before the American sports kicks off. So another really good opportunity this time of the year, capitalize, learn Betfair, get into Platinum, really go over the videos, go watch my videos. They might help to see some live examples. There's heaps of live examples in Betfair, in Platinum as well. So a really good opportunity to capitalise and hone in your skills there too.
Yeah, no, very good feedback. Betfair it's the match better that's doing it properly, and then there's the match betters that fully rookies don't use Betfair. So there's a massive difference. And I think as the years have gone on, the more the people who don't use Betfair and don't know how to use it are getting further and further behind. The gap in skill is greater now. You need to be higher skilled to be a match better that's consistently making money these days versus maybe in 2020 when you could get away with more of this stuff that you were saying with two-way Dutching and things like that.
Yeah, to add to that as well, the bookies are requiring you to use Betfair as well. There's a lot of bookies where the sign-up offer, they don't even let you place it on sport. They require you to put it on racing because they know the rookie match bettors know how to do sport, but they know that the rookie match bettors don't know how to use Betfair and turn over their bonus bets. So even as a rookie to intermediate, you really need to know how to use Betfair too, or else you just can't turn over your bonus bets that the bookies are doing. So they're making it harder there too.
Or they promo ban you, like for example, play up. We've known this for 5 years. If you're two-way Dutch, you bet on a bonus with even a non-promo on sport, they just hate it. And they can show like match bettors, they predict match bettors straight away and close your account. And people have not even used a promo bet and have got their promotions taken away from them. So these are the little nuggets that you'll find on like the bookie list that we offer that will help you to set up those accounts and prime them for spring.
I'd also say with Betfair, like Steve was saying, once you become more proficient at it, especially in spring racing, we've even seen it like in the carnival just in Queensland. If you're operating on a Saturday session, I'm thinking for horse system members, but even just general match bettors, if you're operating 3 tracks for the whole session, it's pretty much like you're looking at promos pretty much every 10, 15 minutes. It's just, racing promos. If you throw in some sport promos there as well, guys that are in horse and sport, they're probably placing sport promos or they have bonuses from the night before, whatever it may be. If you're proficient in Betfair, you can get to the end of your session on a Saturday and all of your promo betting's done, all of your bonus bets are turned over, and a lot of your non-promo activity can all be done in that session. And you're doing it when there's the most money in Betfair. It's the easiest time to find matches. The most people are betting, so you're just blending in. But if you're quite slow or it's taking you ages to turn bonuses over or to find non-promos on Betfair, a lot of the newer guys, which is normal, will get through the session and have done a lot of their promo betting, but they've turned over almost none of their bonuses, and they've also done almost no non-promo betting, which means that then your match betting operation rolls over into Sunday or to Monday or to Tuesday. And like Steve said, some of these people would get away with that because they might wake up Sunday and there's fucking 14 NBA games, and it's like, great, I can get so many non-promos off, I can get so many bonuses done, happy days. But when those opportunities don't present themselves, yes, there's racing on Sunday, but again, you might have to sit there for a couple of hours and have a proper session. So the most locked in guys, when I spoke about it before, the guys that do, the guys that are on $10 units, the guys that are on $100 units, the guys that are on $100 units would also get to the end of their session. Bonuses are gone, non-promos are gone, spreadsheets up to date, and that's the difference. These guys probably haven't done any of that either, and that's the skill gap that you can still close in these next couple of months. You can get your Betfair reps in, you can familiarise yourself with the odds, you can go watch the videos again and really lock in, because that in itself, that efficiency, saves you more time. And even if these guys, let's say player A, player B at the end of the month makes the same amount of money, but this guy did it in 40 hours and this guy did it in 15, well, everyone's going to want to be the guy that did it in 15. You're technically making more money per hour. So that's another benefit of being a whiz at Betfair.
So we keep mentioning our Platinum community. If you want to know exactly what that is, on your screen right now is going to be a link. Click the link. It'll show you exactly what is inside Platinum, what you get, lifelong access, full refund guarantee, 2,000 plus members in there. There's a full page, shows you everything inside. And obviously there's a lot of member stories, interviews, feedback on that page as well. If you can't find the link on your screen, just go into the description, click it, and it'll take you to the Platinum Squad sign-up page. We'll see you in there.
Yeah, 100%. The last thing, I think these have been very actionable items so far. The last thing I would say is to try and build somewhat of a routine or schedule around your life so that you can fit your match betting in. Now, with the Spring Carnival, you most likely will do a little bit more on a Saturday because there are going to be more opportunities to make money, more opportunities to take expected value because there are going to be more promos, more deposit offers, redeposit offers. The bookies are going to chase you more. So more opportunity equals potentially more resources and time. Like Tom said, allocation into calendar. You're already planning to do that through the spring. However, right now, where a lot of match bettors go wrong is they try and do it solo, and they don't have a routine, they don't have accountability, and they don't have people around them doing the same things to support them to achieve their goals. And whatever you've done in life, if you've tried to do something solo, it is so much fucking harder than doing it when you've got 50, 100, 500, 1,000 people around you doing the same thing. So I would encourage you that if you are someone who is trying to do everything on your own, I tried to do this my entire life until I woke up and realized that if you leverage other people, you actually get to your goals way faster. But more importantly, you do it with less pain and less fatigue in your brain because you don't waste as much time and energy thinking about shit that you can just get in the ask a question in a Discord or watch a video or go to reference an exact thing that you should know because you can just see the title of it and you're, oh, fuck, that solves my problem. I was wondering how I could do that. Instead of trying to work it out, go on fucking Google and ChatGPT and try and watch YouTube and find them in like some needle in a haystack. You just get it in the quickest format and you then execute it straight away. And you fix your skill gap, you fix your skill issue faster, and then you operate at a much greater efficiency. Like Tom said, you'll get to the 15 hours in a month where you've made X and the same person's done 30 hours, 40 hours, and then that person burnt out as well at month 3 because they gave up because they couldn't be fucked with all this pain of the fatigue of trying to do it themselves. This is not just applicable to match betting. This is everything. If you have the ability to leverage other people, do it as much as you can. So that would be one. Like, what is your routine? What is your schedule? Do you have one? Are you using a promo list to allocate, like on a Saturday? Where are your promos? How are you doing that? There's 100 things you could sort there, but the main one would be actually trying to put yourself in a position where you know what your routine is. You're planning your session. You know where the promos are. You know the hours that you're allocating to this. You tell people around you so that they know you're doing fucking 12 to 4 every Saturday. That's what I'm doing. You plan your work around that. You move shit around and you be really intentional with those sessions. You will get so much more done if you apply those things, I think.
I want to summarize that. The best, most successful people on this planet are creatures of habit, which is what you're saying. Build that habit.
You're just doing reps and then it becomes your life. Like
exactly.
Literally.
Yeah. You're committing to doing the reps and then the reps just commit to do you.
Well, no, but if you're doing,
it just happens is my point.
Yeah, but if your Saturday is punting, drinking, and then you're doing that, then that's your reps. Those
Correct.
are your life.
That's what becomes natural, and that's what becomes what you just wake up on a Saturday and do.
Whereas you've got people who just fucking can't wait for Saturday to come because they know they're locking in for 5 hours and they're just making money.
Yeah. And then go and do whatever the fuck you want after it.
Yeah.
The 12 to 5, lock in.
100%.
Build that habit and you will succeed. You literally can't succeed. If you do that for a year at match betting.
Can't not succeed.
Can't not succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't not succeed. Correct. But you'd have to honestly be a fish to not be able to succeed if you commit 12 to 5 for a year of match betting.
Well, it's just what Hormozy says. He says you do that much work that it's unreasonable to fail. It's
Correct.
like if you spend 500 hours on match betting over the next 12 months. I don't know how many hours is that a week.
It's 52, 10, 10.
10 hours a week.
Bit less, yeah.
1050s.
Do you reckon you're going to be good at it?
Yeah, probably.
Do you reckon it's unreasonable to say you're going to be bad at it?
Unless you're a fish, yes.
Okay. A goldfish.
Doesn't matter if you're not good, but you'll be better.
You'll make money, true,
You're,
yeah.
Like, you're going to be better than if you didn't do You're going to be better than if you didn't do 500 hours. But it's no one's saying you're going to be like the best match better.
No.
But you're just going to be better than if
Correct.
you didn't do 500 hours of match betting.
Yeah.
So it's inevitable.
Easy. Well, there's some, we'll leave it there. There are some common mistakes that I think we've already covered, but don't wait till spring to start opening up accounts. Don't run 10 to 15 bookies and wonder why you've got no promos or access to opportunities when it comes to spring. Don't guess. Track everything you do, like Steve said, so you can make decisions. Don't try and do everything solo. Learn Betfair, because if you don't, like Steve said, you're done. And if you don't have a structure, a schedule, a routine, and you don't have accountability of people around you, like you're shooting yourself in the foot.
And get capital.
And get money, of course.
And I got one to add as well. This is a bit nuanced, and this is more for people who are, say, in their first 1 to 3 months of being a platinum member, only because we talk to these people. Don't try and be an expert. And what I say with it, what I mean by this is, obviously we've done a lot of member interviews and we ask people how many hours are you spending a week, and we got people that are making 20, 30 grand a month EV, and they're spending 15, 20 hours a month. And a new member hears this and goes, sweet, I can do that too. No. The only reason they can now spend 15, 20 hours a month and make these profits is because they spent 500 hours prior to that learning how to be efficient, learning the skills, learning how to be an expert, like Tom's saying with Betfair, and 10xing with the same amount of time and effort and input and energy. So if you're just starting out, in order for you to be able to get to a point where you're operating super efficiently, you need to put in the hard yards. So don't kid yourself and think that you can get through putting in these hard yards and maybe putting in a 20, 30 hour week for the first couple of weeks. I know people get scared away from doing that, but you put in that hard yards, get those reps in early. The quicker you can get those reps in, you don't have to put in 20, 30 hour weeks to begin with. I'm saying if you do that, you're going to get those reps on the board a lot quicker. And by month 3 or 4, then you're spending 5-6 hours a week. But don't kid yourself and think you're going to instantly be able to spend 5-6 hours a week from week 1 and get the same results as someone who's spending 20 or 30 hours, because you need to work out how it fits in with your life and how you can operate as efficiently as possible. We'll give you the tools, skills, experience, ideas, what we think works, but you need to work it out for yourself, and that only comes with reps.
Yeah, well said. Well, you've got 60 days now to work out essentially whether you want to take the opportunities that do come in spring. For some of you, Spring Carnival, I mean, this might sound cliche, can be literally life-changing because you can make crazy amounts of money if you set yourself up properly, or you can just do nothing and watch the opportunity pass you by. So we'll leave you with that.
So we're at the end of another system podcast. Now, throughout this podcast, you might have heard us refer to Hamish. Hamish is doing some really cool things in this space. At only 19 years old, Hamish has made over $100,000. I recommend going and listening to the first interview that we had with him back in February this year. Have a listen. We've got another podcast coming out with him that will be released very soon. It might be released at the time this is posted, so you can follow his progression. It's going to be a full-on life-changing story, just showing and highlighting the potentials of match betting. Check it out. Cheers.